Welcome everyone. We are getting started with our Wednesday, May 27th regular board meeting. We're moving to item C1, call to order. Let the record reflect that we have Board Member Hernandez, Board Member Cantu, and myself present. Do we have Board Member Gomez over the phone? Board Member Gomez?
Yes, I'm here. That's correct.
Thank you. So the four of us are present. All board members are here today. We now move to item C2, Pledge of Allegiance. If you can please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance.
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We are now moving to item C3, adoption of the agenda. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second, motion was made by Board Member Hernandez, second by President Lopez. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye as well.
Aye.
Thank you, Board Member Gomez. Motion carries. We now move to item D, report summary of current events. Superintendent Dr. Chavez.
Yes, Mr. President, governing board members, welcome everyone to our regular governing board meeting. We appreciate you being here this evening. I would like to thank our governing board for their participation in the retreat that we had on Thursday, May 21st. We communicated about emotional intelligence, also talked about travel, and then the process of application for our new governing board applicants. We do have a process for that we'll talk a little bit about later. And each one of our board members were there participating, and it was a very fruitful event, so I want to thank each and every one of them for being there. So please give them a big round of applause for their dedication. Now keep in mind that the board that you see up here, they do all of this for our school district as a volunteer. There is no compensation for what they do, and I sure appreciate their time and dedication to this particular school district, because it is time consuming, and many times you don't see that they're working or they're communicating with me back and forth, but it does take a lot of time. So thank you for giving them a big hand. Also, as you may know, we have already publicized the process for selecting another governing board member. We are going through Mr. Don Covey, Maricopa County Superintendent of Schools. The applicants must be in by June 1st, which is Monday, and we will conduct interviews on June 4th. And then 3 of those applicants that go through that interview process will be given to Mr. or Dr. Don Covey, and he will select our new governing board member. I also would like to report that I did attend the Raul Castro Middle School promotion ceremony. And I must say, not only do we have smart kids in our school district, we got the best looking kids around. These kids were dressed up, looking really sharp, and all the awards that they won, it was simply amazing. I really enjoyed being there. And we did have Henry Segudo as a keynote speaker at the second promotion ceremony, so it's always good to see Henry. He will be fighting in the UFC undercard with in Mexico City next month. So he's undefeated so far, and he continues to do very well with the UFC. So we look forward to seeing him next month. And then last week I did have an opportunity to meet with Brandy. She is the Youth Marketing Director of the American Heart Association. And we talked about the Jump Rope for Hearts. There are many of our schools that are participating in this particular program, but we are looking at expanding it to other types of physical activities. So we appreciate her coming to contact us here in the Cartwright School District. And I do want to give you a friendly reminder, governing board and staff, that we do have the data showcase, which will be June 3rd at the Wigwam down the street. So we're hoping that all of the board members have an opportunity to join us at the data showcase, and I'm sure that we'll have many activities that you'll be able to participate in. And then also I wanted to remind everyone that beginning May 29th, the district will be on summer schedule. I know most of you don't know that. The district office will be closed every Friday as well as the schools. So we are in that 4-day week, and it does help save energy. I see Mr. Bateman there rubbing his hands because he knows these next 3 months are the 3 months that we save the most energy. Isn't that right, Mr. Bateman? He does a wonderful job, as you'll get an opportunity to hear him in the near, actually coming up here just in a bit. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you to Veronica Sanchez. She will be presenting the Superintendent's Award of Excellence.
Good evening, governing board members, Mr. President, Dr. Chavez, and the executive team. Tonight we honor 2 very impressive Cartwright School District students with the Superintendent's Award of Excellence. The first is Alejandro Orona Sosa from Sunset Elementary. He was nominated by his teacher, Ms. Hayes, who says this about him. Alejandro is a young man with a lot of determination to improve his reading. He not only attends a small group Success Maker class, he also attends before and after school tutoring. He is a great example of a Cartwright student and is determined to achieve a better quality of reading. Because of that determination, he will succeed in absolutely anything he does. Our other award winner tonight is Michael Torres. He is also from Sunset Elementary, and he was also nominated by his teacher, Ms. Hayes. Michael is a very dedicated young man who cares about his education, so much so that he's considering being a teacher. He is usually the first person in class, and he works very hard and does extra sessions to improve his reading on a daily basis. Michael Alejandro, you're already present, so come forward and accept the Superintendent's Award of Excellence. Congratulations. These 2 young men are an incredible example of what Cartwright can do for its students and how successful they can be. So please give them a round of applause. Their parents are here. Smile, bitch.
give our students another round of applause. We have incredible students and incredible parents, so thank you for being here. We sure appreciate your presence here at our board meeting. At this point in time, I'd like to introduce the Citizens Advisory Council. We have some of our members here. If you'd please stand so you can be recognized. This particular group of parents has met every month with the superintendent, and we were able to have a lot of professional development on leadership style. We also had college and career readiness is something that they really wanted to learn more about. And then we also introduced them to the U program, which many of them took the classes and workshops. And then we had a discussion about the Cuídate teen pregnancy program and had some rich discussion on that. As you know, that is a controversial type of issue that we communicated about. But we did have some excellent conversation and discussion. And as you know, we'll move forward with that particular program. And then we also talked about preparing for the AZ Merit. And then we shared with this particular group of folks the operational efficiency report, which indicated that we have under 9% administrative costs and over 70% instructional money going into instructional classrooms, etc. For instruction. Over 70% of our budget goes to directly instruction. As Mrs. Cantu corrected me in an earlier board meeting. I appreciate that, Mrs. Cantu. So we do have a presentation, and we'll start out with Mrs. Bettis.
Good evening, Mr. President, governing board members, and Dr. Chavez. My name is Roseanne Perez, and this was my first year on the advisory council after being on Holiday Park's site council for approximately 4 years. Mr. Olivas will be speaking after me regarding the programs being implemented in our schools. We, the advisory council, have been learning more in depth about what a professional learning community is and what elements a successful PLC must have in place. First, collaboration on part of the team is vital to sharing information, experience, and creating a united vision that will have a positive effect on decisions made regarding goals for learning together for the benefit of student achievement. Another element is collective inquiry. This process impacts positive change through research on topics that a PLC will explore together and learn from by using collaboration and dialogue between team members. It is this data that signals change is needed to increase professional development. Effective professional learning communities could not exist without supportive leadership style in place. We, the council, have seen by the example shown to us by Dr. Chavez that leadership should be collaborative, participative, and transformational. First, I want to speak about collaboration and part of a PLC. Collaborative in the sense that others' expertise and experience is valued and heard. This results in development of leadership capacities in team members. Second, participative leadership creates a oneness felt by all, and that enables motivation, a safe atmosphere, and encourages members to contribute. Third and finally, leadership that's transformational entails providing an environment that empowers members to become part of a productive professional learning community. This happens when servanthood is modeled to others, which guides them into a shared goal. The outcome is a belief in positive results a variety of ideas being brought forth, and a greater cause to work towards. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ms. Perez. Mr. President, board members, superintendent, and executive team. I want to share with you our experiences in regards to the U program. The U program was presented to the Citizen Advisory Council during our November 3rd meeting by Irene Rivera and Vanessa Chavez from our Family Welcome Center. They did a wonderful presentation of this program, and the program having a curriculum that focuses on partnering with parents to help children succeed in four important areas of life, which are academic achievement, physical health, emotional well-being, and social well-being. Consider this program really valuable to our district. Now, this program recognizes parents as vital to child success. To us, the Citizen Advisory Council will consider parents the most vital, as parents are the first and most important teacher for our children. Now, in having this program within our district, I believe that it will cause a positive impact within our communities, not just within our schools, but the communities overall. This program also teaches parents skills from birth through college, and our children are not born with a set of instructions, as we all know. Now, during this, every parent that attended this program received a set of books. Unfortunately for me, I couldn't get to use the first one, but I do get to use the second and third one, and I do find it very valuable. I had the opportunity to also bring my sister, who is a single mother, who is my older sister, and now has a child in kindergarten, and so she has another 27-year-old and a 23-year-old, and now a 5-year-old single mother. So she's starting over, and getting her and my nephews into this, getting them to come to this program, to me was an achievement on itself, because they don't attend a lot of, they live a busy life and they don't attend to a lot of this. Now, the program itself, it was pretty emotional for one part, informational. We had a wonderful speaker, Ms. Chico, that did have the presentation herself, and our understanding was this program was hosted right here at the Cartwright Training Center during 13 sessions, 3 in English, 10 in Spanish, and all workshops were facilitated by Sunny P. Chico, Educational Solutions. They did a wonderful job. I was also glad to see some of our board members attending and overseeing how the program was going. I had the opportunity to see some of you present. And now, on any program that you have more than 500 parents, is considered a success. And I've seen other programs that they want to start out and they say, well, if you can get 500 parents, you can consider this program a success. We have 500 parents on our first round, and that to me was impressive. I understand there is a part 2 that could probably come into next year. I really look forward to that. And as always, the Citizen Advisory and parents at the Cartwright District, we welcome the U program and thank the governing board, superintendent, and executive team for making this possible. Now, I had the opportunity to share the U program at a couple different schools, and everybody was thrilled to come. We had, I think we have all 20 schools who had participation. I think that was also an accomplishment. And also, I'd like to talk to you about the Cuídate. Now, this program was presented to the Citizen Advisory Council during our February 2nd meeting by Erica Chavez from Touchstone Behavioral Health. Ms. Erica Chavez explained the risks, disadvantages, and statistics of teen pregnancy. She explained the details of teen pregnancy prevention program, so Cuídate, which focuses on the Latino community. She also shared the survey results of the program showing positive results. So now when the facts were presented to this Citizen Advisory Council, it actually scared some of our members, and some of the facts you can see on this presentation, it got some people nervous. I had the opportunity also to share that this program was coming next year at 2 different schools, and the same discussion that we had with during the Citizen Advisory Council happened at the schools. Hesitation. Some people thought, well, should this be taught at our schools? Shouldn't this be something that the church should be taking care of, or us as parents? Well, now the parents have the option to opt in or opt out of the entire program. Now, once they see all the facts and if they attend the informational meetings that will happen before the program is actually given to our students, I'm sure they will be able to make a more educated decision, and it'll be for the better of the program. Now, some of the statistics, the one that scared me the most was being that our teen birth rate in Maryville was almost double the one in Maricopa County. So just by that, feels like, yes, we need to somebody needs to take some action. And I really like to thank you, Mr. President, board members, executive team, for bringing this program and supporting this program. Because once I talked to a lot of parents, it was like I said, there was a lot of hesitation, but overwhelmed, over 90% they say they will sign up their kids for it. So it's something that will be well done, and it'll improve our children's future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mr. Olivas, and also Mrs. Bettis. We appreciate your presentation. The next steps for our Citizens Advisory Council is to increase our participation from all of the schools. There are some schools that did not have people participating, and next year one of our goals is to have every school have representation. And also we want to continue the journey with PLC, with the professional learning community concept, and delve in deeper into that concept, and we're hopeful that the Citizens Advisory Council concurs with that. And we also want to continue to have two-way communication with the council and with the superintendent, and also we'll continue to strive to be a high-performing organization. So once again, please give our Citizens Advisory Council a big round of applause. At this time, we'll entertain any questions that you may have.
Any questions? Board Member Hernandez?
First of all, I want to thank you. Thank you for being here. You guys did a great job. I wanted to ask you about your experience at the council meetings and what you're able to. Can you share some of that experience? What made you how you got involved?
Anybody want?
Yeah, to anybody.
Come on up. Okay. Yes, my experience. Well, I've always been involved with since 2009. I've been highly involved with educating parents, facilitating different programs. There was time that I got pretty busy within those programs. I was part of American Dream Academy, Stand for Children, what's the other one? There's another program that I was also part of it. but I got pretty busy, and I decided to, even though I enjoy working a lot with parents, I decided to do in-house work, just work in my community, become a part of, do what I can do in other districts, bring it to our district. And I work a lot with at Sunset Elementary. On every coffee talk, we had Ms. Wells talking to parents, and then after that, sometimes I will keep parents for another hour or two, teaching about different stuff. But I enjoy being involved in different programs. I've been also part of the Bond Override, the Truancy and Absenteeism Task Force, and Citizen Advisory Council. I'm a member on all three, and it's just one thing that I enjoy doing. My experience on the Citizen Advisory Council, having a direct line with Dr. Chavez, being that connection that parents sometimes don't have to go through a teacher, counselor, assistant principal to get to the superintendent. Being that voice that gets some concerns directly to our superintendent has been pretty helpful. Getting some of the concerns from our superintendent down directly to our parents, but kind of like bypassing the middleman. It's a great opportunity. I really enjoy it. So
Thank you.
that's the rest.
Yes, governing board members and Mr. President, I also have enjoyed very much being involved with the school. I started volunteering when my children started going to school, and I was invited to be on the site council there by Debbie Valadez, who was the principal there at the time. And something funny I want to tell you, she left a message on my machine saying, I want you to come and talk with me about the site council, and will you get into contact with me? And I was thinking, oh my gosh, site council. I was like, oh, my kids need counseling, what's going on? And so when I called her back, she says, oh no, she says, it's not that. I want you to be in this group, that where the parents give their opinion and you guys get given information. So I felt very honored to be invited to that. And like I said in my presentation, I was involved in that about 4 years. And then Ms. Limekuhler this beginning school year asked me if I wanted to participate in the advisory council. And I said yeah, and so I've enjoyed it, receiving all the information from Dr. Chavez. Have felt very privileged to be able to get that information, because there's a lot of parents that don't have access to that. And so it's just been a continuing learning experience. It's getting more and more intense as I'm getting into this. So and I hope to continue, doing things for the school. And I have 3 children, so that keeps me very busy. But I like, being part of a group with other parents, and I really have enjoyed it. So thank you very much.
I want to say thank you. We have a great community and a lot of talent, and I'm passionate about that. And perhaps we can consider any one of you running for school board, because that's what it really is all about. Having your kids and going through the process and learning more about how to get involved and what you're able to do for other parents that are not able to. So thank you for serving.
Board Member Cantu.
Yes, Mr. President, Dr. Chavez, I want to thank the Advisory Council for being here tonight. I think I was right when I asked Dr. Chavez to bring him. We're here, we're on the same page here, right? We want the best for our community, and it's good to have connected names and faces and the same interests, which is our students. I really applaud you for the work that you do and for attending the meetings.
to echo the words of my fellow board members. Thank you for giving us an update, for coming to the board meeting and presenting to us. And you know, we do have a vacancy and we have a process and application. So I mean, if any of you are interested, you know, please feel free to apply. And as Dr. Chavez mentioned, the deadline is June 1st. And so I think all of us are urged to, you know, take a shot at the vacancy. You know, it's the first step for now. And if you're not interested in that, there's definitely, you know, a chance next year as well to run for the board. So we welcome you. Thank you.
Yes, thanks once again. We'll move on to item C, culture and climate update. At the request of the governing board, I was asked to contact a few local agencies to see what their proposals were for a climate and culture survey. And I contacted ASBA and also MAKISA, which is the Maricopa County Educational Service Agency. And with the ASBA proposal, what we're looking at is the possibility of surveying 300 employees, also doing some focus groups, and then also the ability to do an assessment with the entire workforce. However, I wanted to bring to your attention that the cost for this is quite extensive. We're looking at $40,000 and up. For the MAKISA, we would also be doing the same type of thing. Also doing role-specific groups, questionnaires, and also analyzing the data and having written reports as a narrative for the survey results. What we're looking at with MAKISA is approximately starting out with $11,000, $12,000 and going up to $50,000, $60,000 for focus groups, etc. I want to get some direction from the governing board to pursue this or not. If in fact we'd like to pursue this, I would have to look at our proposed budget and look at what we have to cut in order to be able to pay for this climate and culture survey. So I'll leave it up to discussion with the governing board.
Member Hernandez?
Yes, Dr. Chavez, fellow board members. If I recall, the culture climate question was presented by board member Denise Garcia. I think there was an interest in learning more and getting some feedback regarding, you know, how our culture and climate is doing, and perhaps that the survey was not meeting that need. And I suggested, I know in the past, we had Dr. Perkins from, that at the time was president, I think, of the CUBE, Council of Urban Boards of Education. I don't know what that contract looked like or what, but I don't know. I would entertain discussion on that culture climate. I know that we've got, it's important. It's important because as we, as a board, attempt to address many concerns throughout the school, we're not perfect, and we know that, and we want to be able to hear. I often tell our, not only staff, but as I walk, our neighbors to let me know, and they always, you know, I can tell you, I always hear the stories about an experience that somebody had, and I'm not saying that it's not true, but I like to hear about that because that's the only way we can address it. If we don't hear, then we don't know. And trust me, I'm in a lot of conversations, and I hear a lot about different schools. So the only thing we can begin to do is engage us in that conversation. But I'm interested. I'd like to pursue perhaps something different than that survey, because a survey, either one, I don't respond, or two, I just, you know, and I know, because I'm a parent and I go to the parent-teacher conference and I'm in a hurry and I'm going, yep, this happened, but I don't have time to, you know, to address this. And how do I bring that if I don't know how to do that? Is that true? Perhaps, okay, I'm on it. So how could we perhaps, if something that's affordable or would be amenable to our district, something that's feasible, but perhaps something different, Because I know those issues are out there, and even though we might get I'm gonna say a good survey back, it's just addressing the different obstacles to getting that picture. I don't know, I wouldn't, invite others to the conversation.
Board Member Cantu?
Yes, Mr. President, Dr. Chavez, when you mention cut, it's kind of a difficult word here. If there's something that we need to do in our district, I agree. But can we look at other options? There might be some internships, doctorate programs out there. They might be willing to do that and perhaps the cost will not be as much. And somebody that wants to do a thesis or something in culture and climate, because I believe that's the way it was done in the past. So if we can contemplate that option, I will really suggest to go that route. If we really need to go focus on this particular situation, and that way we can compare prices and not really look into the word cut, because we are, right, Mr. OJ? We don't want to cut anything that we have in place for our students and for our teachers and for the district. So if we can contemplate other options, I would suggest that. And it's just my personal opinion. I leave the rest of the board and see what they think about it.
Board Member Gomez?
Yeah, I would echo what Board Member Hernandez and Cantu mentioned, that I would like to see some sort of survey done and look at various avenues. I do see here that the ones from Makita and ASBA are kind of high, so I think we could look at other avenues, but it's something that is needed within our district.
Thank you, Board Member Gomez. I think if we can look at the options that Board Member Hernandez mentioned and Board Member Cantu, Dr. Chavez, then if we can probably bring those back at the next meeting if possible, or if you can give us an update, if I know it's not an easy process, but if we have to do any cuts to pay for any of these services, I think it'll be helpful to know where the cuts may happen if we choose to do it this school year. As you and I mentioned in the past, there's also the possibility of waiting for the next budget to see what room do we have, but I know that it's important to see where the cuts are coming from before we even go there. But we have other options that the other board members also requested. Board Member Cantu or Hernandez?
There is a conference, Q Issues Conference coming up, and we will definitely contact Q and see if they have any prospects working on culture and climate. They usually have doctorate programs working on that type of area. So we can also contemplate that as well, and that might be something it's not as costly as ASBA or McKinsey.
Hernandez?
I like the idea about the possible partnerships. Perhaps we could explore looking into a partnership with GCU, the College of whatever is more relative to the topic. I can sit down and probably tell you, but right top of my head, I know they do exist, and I know because through the Salvation Army and a committee that I sit on, we're looking to them for the political science department for citizenship. Such as that. But I know there's opportunities for partnership there. I think it's important. I know there's a link from the stories that we hear, even with our employees that work, provide the services, cafeteria workers, crossing guards and all that, and perhaps that are not more privy or are less privy to professional development. that would help them advocate for their positions in a professional manner or know the process to do so. I'd like to not completely cut it out, but I'd like for us to explore other possibilities. We really need that feedback, if not just the council, but also at the different schools. I would invite, even engage us, perhaps even a project to walk and sample a few door to door and find out about local schools or just the culture, climate in general. I'd be willing to volunteer and do that as well. But any possibilities to keep it going.
Board Member Gomez, any other discussion?
No, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. I think outside of Christine with the direction of Dr. Chavez can look into the queue to make a few phone calls and see what possibilities they have for partnerships. But I think you heard direction, Dr. Chavez on the board.
Yes, Mr. President, governing board members, I can also continue to do my research. What I'm trying to secure is approximately $40,000 to $50,000 to be able to do a comprehensive survey and focus groups with each of the constituency groups so that we do a comprehensive view of the district. That way we'll be able to make decisions based on factual evidence and feedback from each of those constituency groups. Mr. OJ does have a presentation for you next governing board meeting. It's the proposed budget for the 15-16 school year. Within that budget, we'll also look at possibilities for securing $40,000 to $50,000 for this particular project. I know that if in fact we use doctoral students or partner with Grand Canyon University, we might be able to get it less. That's a possibility, but we'll look at the inexpensive all the way to the expensive and see which is best for the Cartwright School District so that we do a good job in finding out what's going on in terms of culture and climate. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yes, I think that's a great idea, and we can get an update from you at the following meeting.
Very good. Okay, at this point in time, I'd like to introduce you to Dr. Shelby Jasmer. She'll be presenting the responding intervention. Dr. Lawler.
Thank you and good evening, President Lopez, members of the governing board. Tonight, we in Educational Services want to provide an update with our response to intervention process and programs that we've been working on the last few years. It's really important for our school district to ensure, just like the title says, that we want to make sure that there's high levels of learnings for all of our children. And so we want to show you where we are right now, where we started, and where we hope to go. So I would like to introduce Dr. Jasper, our Director of RTI and Accountability. Thank you, Dr. Jasper.
Good evening, Mr. Lopez. Am I on?
Can you, it's right in the middle.
Right at the middle button.
Thank you.
It's very high tech. Governing Board, Dr. Chavez, and the executive team, thank you for letting me speak to you about our RTI program today. We first started looking at this in 2013, July, and if you see, we started out as RTI in a PLC district, but if you look, now you see that it's a multi-tiered system of support in a professional learning community. And you say, what is the big change? Well, originally in the research, RTI was a system to support students whether or not they had disabilities. And now, in a multi-tiered system of support, what we're looking at is if students have educational issues, we're going to address them. And it was a nice segue when Mrs. Hernandez was talking about your meeting you had at Maryvale High School, and some of the students parents were very concerned about their students failing classes. Well, we know if you look at the middle for college and career ready, as a K-8 district, our primary, one of the most important things we do is to prepare our students so they are ready to pass those freshman year classes. That if they pass their freshman year classes, the probability of them graduating from high school greatly increases. And so, but sometimes kids are behind in their instruction. So if you look down at the blue part of the circle, Kids who are 2 or more years behind would be what we call as Tier 3 instruction. So for example, if you had a 4th grade student with 2nd grade reading skills, the challenge is the teacher is trying to teach all the 4th grade reading skills. Well, this student needs to backfill some 2nd grade skills that he or she may have missed for a variety of reasons. So in a multi-tier system of support, we identify those gaps for students and then align the teachers and the instruction so that they can fill in those gaps so they're ready to accelerate to grade level and get ready for high school. So we first started with our staff. I don't know if you remember, at the beginning of the school year, we have an opportunity to work with all of our teachers. So in July, right before school started, almost 2 years ago, every single teacher in our district was trained in the MTSS process. And we're answering these questions. Why do this? What's going to change? And how will these changes work? So why are we going to do it? What are we going to do? And how will we do it? And I love this. So in talking about that, I love this diagram for managing complex change. When you look at the top, in order for in an organization, a large organization, in order for change to actually really happen, you've got to build a rationale, you have to have a vision, you have to have skills, incentives, resources, and action plans. And what's so interesting, then if you look down the chart, if any of these pieces are missing, this is the emotional outcome for the participants. So for example, if you don't have a rationale, you get resistance. If you don't have a vision, people are confused. If you don't have skills, people are anxious, like I have to do this and I don't know how. If you don't have incentives, like why should we do this? People are moving more slowly. If you don't have the resources, it's very frustrating. And if you don't have an action plan, stop and go, stop and go, stop and go. So it was really exciting for us in that first year was building that rationale and that vision, and then training some of our initial people in those skills. And what's really exciting is now that we have all the resources we need so that everybody, between our summer training and all the resources we're purchased this year for next year, will have the skills and the resources that our students and teachers need to be successful. So we will have change. So we've really been building this program for 2 years, and so we feel like as long as we stay staffed, we'll be ready to go for the fall, full force. And the reason why we're doing this, this is just an example of our data for several years. This happens to be 3rd grade reading, which is crucial for students. And when you look at the charts, these represent all the students in the school district. So it's about 2,000 students. The green is those students who are in great shape, good to go. The yellow, a little bit of trouble, and the red, that's very high concern students. And year in and year out, a good third of our students are in great shape, another third have a little bit of problems, and another third have big problems, and it never changes. So that's what we said, we've got to, what we call the strategic or the yellow and red students. We've got to put in these programs so that everybody can get to the green, so they'll be ready for high school. So that's kind of where we started. So here's when we're working with the staff, one thing that we knew is that the purpose of a multi-tier system of support is to align student learning needs with the teachers and the resources they need. Its purpose is not just to try to get everybody in special education. We know that students have instructional needs, educational needs. They don't have disabilities. For a simple example is we know research tells us that when you're learning how to read, you need to learn that in a language you're proficient in. But in Arizona, we're not able to do that. So we have kindergartners and 1st graders trying to learn how to read in a language they don't fully understand. So when they get to 2nd and 3rd grade, they have gaps. They don't have disabilities, they have gaps because they weren't able to access the instruction in kindergarten and 1st grade as a native speaker would. So we can now match that student with the instruction that he or she missed at that time, but they're older, so you can accelerate it. So a 2nd grader can learn kindergarten curriculum faster than a kindergartner can. So that's what we're able to do. And we can't keep doing one student at a time. If you looked at that in 3rd grade, you have 700 kids. You can't talk about 700 individual students. And you can't assume the kids are the problem. The problem is the system. We have to build a system that moves all of our kids. So in thinking of making sure that our staff knew that, you know, a multi-tier system of support is the system for the students, but professional learning communities is the system for adults. There are two things that work side by side. So Rick DeFore is kind of the inventor of professional learning communities, and he says that, you know, students need to be screened. So all of our students at the beginning of the school year, or if they're enrolled at any given time, they're given a screener in reading and math. And if that screener, it takes 5 minutes, if that screener says, this looks like there might be trouble, then those students are given further diagnostic assessments. And we say, yes, here's the 4th grade reading like a 2nd grader. They're going to go into this corrective reading, B1 reading group at 1 o'clock to 1:45, 4 days a week, for example. And we monitor that on a weekly or bi-weekly basis with progress monitoring. And the thing is, kids don't have to wait. We screen them, we know there's a problem, we get them right to it. They don't have to fill out a bunch of papers, they don't have to wait. It's you need help, you're gonna get it today. Well, maybe not today, but within a week. So it takes a lot of moving parts. So what is the leadership part? This is the adult piece. Well, we've been working with a nationally known consultant, Wayne Callender, for the last 2 years, and he really helped train our administrators and our psychologists and our interventionists and our teacher leaderships on how to build this whole system. And now this next year we're really excited is now we're going into the grade level team piece. So how do you problem solve for groups of children at the grade level? So it's going to be with the classroom teacher. We start from the big high up view and now we're down to the grade level classroom view. And the educational service team trains all of our tier 3 interventionists on at least a monthly basis. And then we have instructional coaches that work with them every 1 to 4 weeks, depending on their proficiency with the programs. The problem-solving teams are at the school level, and they're looking, okay, our intensive kids, are they moving in 4th grade, or do we need to open up another section? How are we going to do that? The leadership team then says, you know, maybe our teachers need to be trained on more tier 2 interventions. How are we going to do that? And then our grade level department teams are looking at, hey, tier 1, we're losing some kids, you know, we need to be paying special attention to them, you know, and making action plans at the grade level team or department team level. And then lastly is the child study team, which before, every single kid that had a problem had to go to the child study team. But now, if a kid is behind, we assess them, we give them a program, and as long as we're making progress, you don't have to have a meeting about every single kid. They're getting what they need. But even so, there are sometimes children who will still need extra support. And so that child study team then is for the small individual group of students who really probably need an individual education plan. So it's much more efficient in identifying disabilities and getting kids who are just struggling learners the services they need without identifying them with a disability and having to go through a whole big process. So as you can see from our numbers, this takes a lot of resources at the school level. I mean, kids who need support need grown-ups to give them that support. So at our schools, we have highly qualified reading and math interventionists. Our resource teachers give interventions to any kid, because intervention is not always just special education. Our Move On reading teachers also provide intervention. Some of our general education teachers are especially providing intervention at the tier 2, that secondary level. And then we're really, really excited that we have highly qualified instructional assistants who work under the direction of these reading interventionists or the resource teachers. Because sometimes in a grade level, for example, in reading, there's level A, B1, and B2. Well, in 4th grade, you've got maybe 12 kids in B1 and 15 in B2. But now you've got these 4 kids who need level A. Who can teach 4 kids? So typically, you know, the teacher would try to do something with them in 10 minutes at the table and try to catch them up, but they're severely behind. So now with the support of the reading interventionist, we can have a highly qualified intervention assistant that can work with those 4 kids every day for an hour. So it really gives kids more time with the interventions that they need. Now, those, and we're really excited, Debbie Fight has trained many people to pass the paraprofessional test. So we have a whole lot of interventionists who are able to do that. And one great thing about training them is they're so devoted and so excited. And since they haven't been trained in a lot of other things, they just do the program they're taught in. And some of our paraprofessionals are better than our teachers because they don't try to make up a bunch of stuff that they learned in college. So that has been really a blessing to us. So what curriculum resources we have? Well, Tier 1, that's your benchmark, your good to go kids. That's our grade level material. For Tier 2, that's for kids who have some gaps, but the difference between Tier 2 and Tier 3 in a Tier 2 program, they cover several concepts in a semester, whereas in a Tier 3 program, there's a lot more repetition. So, and they're identified as being the Tier 3 intensive on Ames Web. So in a Tier 3 program, what we know is that kids need a lot of repetition, a lot of practice. So every day in their lessons, 85% of it is practice and 5 to 15% is new. And they're accelerated through the curriculum in that way to close the gap, getting closer to grade level. And we have, as I said, resources trying to get enough people. First of all, we didn't have enough people. Then we didn't have enough resources. And so now, I don't know if you remember passing consent agenda item last week, we've ordered all the materials that our kids are going to need for next year. So we're very excited about that. So what does it mean? So here's some data, and I gave you some copies of that because the numbers are kind of hard to read. So this intervention pyramid, when you look, it's where the kids were. The first pyramid is the fall, the winter, and the spring. And you say, okay, it looks kind of the same. But that's when you have to look at the numbers below it. So if you look under fall and you look in Tier 3, you see that we had 631 kids in Tier 3. But in the winter, 69 of them had moved to Tier 2, so they had improved. That's great. And 2 of them went all the way to benchmark, to grade level. So that's about 10% of the kids moved from intensive to strategic, which is really good. Now you go down to Tier 2, and you say, okay, we had 667 kids at Tier 2, and 93 moved to benchmark. That's fantastic. That's great. Here's the problem, though. 71 went backwards. And if you go across, you'll see that we move about 10% of our kids out of Tier 3, but we moved about 10% backwards to Tier 3, and then we lost some of our benchmark kids. So what we've learned this year is our Tier 3, that's what we really focus on, is moving kids out. But we have to build that Tier 2 program so those kids who have some struggles are getting enough support so they don't fall backwards. Because it doesn't really, if I pay $10 off of my debt and then I charge $10 on my credit card, I really don't win. So that's kind of how that works in 3rd grade. Now 8th grade, which I'm really kind of excited about because 8th graders at the end of the year, they think they're already in high school, and the fact that they're still working is really great. And another big wrench in our program is with the new online testing. It took our school 6 weeks, so kids were coming in and out. Some of them didn't get to go to their intervention classes all the time. Some of their intervention teachers were doing makeup tests, so that last piece was not as consistent as we'd like, but we still got really good results. So when you look at 8th grade, you see that we moved from fall to winter, 205 kids to from intensive to strategic. And then from winter to spring, we moved an additional 132 kids from intensive to strategic. Now again, you'll see the problem is that we're moving kids from Tier 2 are moving to Tier 3. And so that's going to be a really big focus. Is yes, we need to do things with our Tier 3 kids, but we got to build that Tier 2 program so that the kids who have a little bit of struggle get it up, they're boosted up, they're not pulled back. And then So, and then some of our higher tier 2 kids, they had enough support, and you'll see that our kids at benchmark went from 17% to 33% for the 8th grade. Sorry, that's. And the reason why I also wanted to pull this out for you, because the slide on the projector was missing 2 schools, so the data you have here is all of our students as of the last day of school. So that's where we are, is really putting all those systems in place, the staff, the resources, and the structures, so that next year we can expand it to more students. So really, any student that's a tier 3 gets what they need. Any students that's tier 2 gets what they need. We've increased our curriculum resources, and one thing we're really excited about is if you had a new student in and you needed a new division math book, well, you had to call the publisher, order it, deliver it. What we've been able to do is order all of that stuff and have it in our district warehouse. So when you have a new student and you need a new book, your assistant principal just calls down to, I forgot Ginger's last name, Ginger at the Textbooks Resource Center, and she can put it on the delivery truck for tomorrow. So it's really a timely response for those curriculum needs. So we're super excited about that. This summer, we have 2 weeks of training for all the various programs for teachers to participate in that they're using as part of that 301 training. A lot of our paraprofessionals are also coming. And then our highly qualified paraprofessionals will also be trained on Thursdays with Debbie Fight in the special ed department. And then myself and our consultant will continue to work with grade level teams in building out these systems. Voila, that's what I have for you. That's where we are today.
Very good. Thank you so much. I will entertain any questions that you may have.
Board Member Hernandez?
I just have to share, I love that slide, the managing the complex change. Now remember that the struggles that we went through, even in leadership, knowing that, and I'll share this openly, that change is difficult. And trust me, we went through the resistance, the confusion, to the anxiety, to being called names, you name it. And at the end of the day, we're all happy because we're doing well. Mm-hmm. But somehow we're all at different levels, and we have to try to do our best to bring everybody on board so that they understand why we're making the decisions that we do at some points. And the fact that we're privy to more information. And sometimes that we're at liberty to share and not share, and so that's what makes this volunteer job difficult. But thank you so much for that, because I understand so much better. Tier 1, Tier 2, and I understand that we're struggling and with that middle tier and not letting them slide back. But thank you for sharing this and your work.
Board Member Cantu?
Yes, Dr. Jasmine, thank you very much for your presentation. I just have a question for you. The RTI and PLC comes hand to hand from the same solution tree?
It doesn't come from Solution Tree. The Solution Tree, a professional learning community teacher collaboration, is a theoretical framework that Rick DeFore and Solution Tree have done a really good job of writing books about and providing consultant services. And multi-tier system of support, those are instructional practices the Solution Tree trains on, as do other consultants. But the main thing is that in a professional learning community, it's the teachers and the administrators looking at student achievement data and saying, what do we need to keep doing, what do we need to start doing, and what do we need to stop doing. Where the RTI, the multi-tier system of support, is saying, what does this child need, and how are we going to get it? So really, they work hand in hand. The professional learning community figures out what part of the system the students need.
I think that, I'm a big advocate for PLC. And there was time in life when I thought, okay, you identify the problem, and then what you do. And I think this is the answer.
Mm-hmm.
Once you identify what's going on, it's just to get things in order to make it more effective in the classroom. And at the end, it's the students who get the benefit, because we do have, the tier is pretty clear, and it's scary too, because you try to move forward as much as you can, but you have to identify the abilities and the skills of the students before you can do anything. And I think this is a great way to do it, because once your teachers are on the same page, they understand what's coming next. This is what is expected. This is what we want everybody to be doing for our students. And I mean, it makes their life much easier and their job more easy as well. And that's something that I always emphasize on. It's not about working harder, it's working smarter.
And it really is much more efficient. So when a student comes in, you identify there's a problem, then you diagnose the problem, and then you say, okay, kids who have this problem get X, and kids who have this problem get Y. It's already set up in the system. You just have to do it. Whereas before, every individual teacher was trying to figure that out for herself. Hard work, very inefficient.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Dr. Justin.
Hold on, Dr. Chancellor. Board Member Gomez?
I have no comment. Thank you.
Okay, I do have a question, but first of all, thank you for the presentation, and Dr. Lawler as well. On page number 7, you mentioned students are screened when they come to the school district or at the beginning. What's the name of that test? Is that the ESL test for them? Or
No. It's we give the MComp, which is mathematical computation, and students, it's by grade level, and students are given a series of computation problems. For 8th graders, it goes from addition to algebra, and they have 8 minutes to answer as many problems as they can. And based on the number of correct responses they have, that puts them at tier 1, tier 2, or tier 3. For reading, for the younger students, there's an oral reading test, or for the younger students, it's letter sound. And there's also a 7-minute comprehension test for kids in grades 4 through 8. So it takes less than 15 minutes. And we've trained office assistants, school nurses, crossing guards to administer that test. They don't score it, but they administer it. So while the parents fill out the paperwork, they say, "Oh, let me take your child," and they give them a little test, and they say, "Okay, your child is on grade level, so they're going to be doing this," or there could be, we might have some concerns. We're going to do some further assessment, and we will contact you as soon as we have those results.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Jasmine. We appreciate that. And also keep in mind that these interventions happen during the day. In many school districts, what occurs with tier 2 and tier 3 intervention particularly is that they do it after school. We're a big proponent of having it during the school day so that our kids have access to professionals during their school day. So that's a critical, important point that I wanted to make about the RTI, is that it's done during the day. At this point in time, we have a presentation about our energy conservation program. Mr. Oje.
Thank you, Dr. Chavez, Mr. President, board members. I am happy to introduce Mr. Paul Bateman, who is our energy administrator, and he will be presenting an update on our energy program. Mr. President, believe it or not, we are beginning our 5th year now implementing this program, and we have some exciting news to share with you. Just today, he received some wonderful news that I will let him talk about. And Paul, please come forward.
Thank you, Mr. President, governing board members, Dr. Chavez, and executive team. It's a privilege to be with you here tonight. I'm so excited to be here and share this information with you tonight. The Cartwright Energy Conservation Program continues to make great progress, and so for the performance year number 4 is what I'd really like to focus on tonight in my presentation. And we have an energy dollar savings for that particular time period of February 2014 to January 2015 of just under 1.2 million energy dollars, or what we term avoided costs. And so what this term is, what this number is it takes into account things such as the changes within the district, such as added square footage. This beautiful building we're in tonight is 72,000 square feet. It has 60 air conditioning units on top. We are consuming energy as a result of this building, but we are also saving energy as well. And so it's just, this program has been just marvelous in the performance of it. Also taking into account billing cycle differences, the rising utility costs. We were just hit with a 4.5% increase from SRP. And so again, these numbers reflect those changes when you compare the baseline year to our current usage within the district for a 32% reduction. So, and for, I would like to also add that in raw dollar, when we talk about just raw dollar savings with nothing else considered, we are in a 12-month period at approximately $51,000 a month in raw dollar savings within the school district. So again, our program continues to advance, it continues to move forward. There are many factors that provide for the success that we're experiencing tonight, but the biggest one I'd like to highlight is that of teamwork. This program truly does incorporate every single employee within the district and the efforts that they're making. Also, along with those lines, our data analysis, checking to analyze the smart meters to see, I can actually go and check yesterday's consumption of this building to find out how much energy we're actually using in this building and compare that to the day before or the week before or the month before and see if there are any spikes in energy to see, wait a minute, what's happening here in the middle of the night? And then to come in and find out and investigate to see how can we continue to save within the district. Also the on-site training, the expertise of Synergistic Incorporated, formerly known as Energy Education, has just been invaluable. And then the comprehensive facility audits, that adds to our overall success. And literally thousands and thousands of energy saving opportunities have been identified. Some of the benefits of the program are when we save $1 that we don't have to send to SRP or to the City of Phoenix Water Department, we keep that dollar right here in the Cartwright School District. And so it can be retained for educational purposes. Also for the environment, this program is fantastic, which I'll touch on here in a minute. The program is self-funding. So as of January of this year, we paid our final payment. We no longer pay any more money to the company that helped us implement this program. And we get to use their services for life. As long as we continue with this program and continue to implement it and maintain it, Synergistic has promised us that they will continue to give us their engineering expertise and their consulting expertise and the help with Energy Star services as well. The monthly savings trend here I would present to you. I'd just like to highlight a couple aspects of this. As you look up there for June and July, last June and July period, we had over $330,000 savings or avoided cost. This was our banner summer, the biggest one ever. So when Dr. Chavez alludes to the excitement that I feel coming up here, boy, I certainly do. It's going to be tremendous. And then you'll notice that it drops off, and that in August is what we would look at as the beginning of school, when we power everything back up again. And so our savings is reduced at that point. As we move on through the graph, we see above November there, that's when we occupied the new district office right here. And so you can kind of see a trend happening there. And then again, as we move up on this trend, we can see that we had a wonderful, wonderful winter break in savings. So again, just to show it from that perspective, this annual savings right here is for the same time period as on slide 1, and it just shows it in a different format for you to see there in a bar graph. So again, same information as slide 1, just in a different format for performance year number 4. Let's see. So as we look at the program, we're now beginning kind of into our 5th year of the program now. We just completed our 4th year, performance year 4, so we're in performance year 5. But as we look at a 10-year projected savings, we again are looking at a gross savings to date of $3.7 million energy dollars, or 25%. And the projected net savings, we estimate that by January 2021, at the end of our 10th year, to be just over $11 million. So again, the program continues on. Again, our costs level off. I think we spend about $2,000 a year for the software that we use each year. That's it. That's the cost of the program for the Cartwright School District. The rest of it is our reduction in consumption of energy. And so again, it's just an amazing thing that's happening as I look at all employees participating in this program and their impact. As far as an energy, the environment and the impact of that, I just would like to highlight the tree seedlings planted and growing for 10 years. This is my favorite, but it's, again, our program is like the equivalent of taking over 330,000 tree seedlings, planting them, and growing them for 10 years. And that's a huge impact on the environment. The passenger car is not driven for a whole year, over 2,700. So again, we're making a tremendous impact on the environment as well, showing our good stewardship for that. Energy Star recognitions, just to highlight those, Energy Star is really a national validation of our program. And so on that national level, and it demonstrates our commitment to the high standards in energy conservation. So we've been an Energy Star partner since 2011, with 12 buildings receiving the Energy Star Award and certifications in 2013. And what that does is it places our buildings within the Cartwright District in the top 25% of all commercial type buildings in the United States for energy efficiency. Tonight, it's my great pleasure to announce to you that, no kidding, as I went in and checked my mailbox tonight, I received from the U.S. Department of Energy, the Environmental Protection Agency, for 2015, the following certifications. So I'm just going to read down through the list, and these are the schools that are currently just received their certification: Tomahawk School, Tarver School, Sunset School, Starlight Park, John F. Long School, Spitalny, Peralta, Pena, Palm Lane School, Harris Elementary, Estrella Middle School, Downs School, Davidson Elementary, Castro Middle School, Cartwright School, Borman, Atkinson Middle School, and Holiday Park. So again, it's with great pleasure that I announce that tonight. In conclusion, I would just like to go back to the idea of teamwork, and this is really what drives what we do. A couple things: teamwork, and then also it's your support. it's the governing boards implementing and supporting this program that really makes the difference. Because of your energy conservation policy and guidelines, that is truly what drives the success of this program. I can assure you that every decision that I personally make, it adheres to your policy and guidelines, and that's why we are having the successes, because of the wonderful people throughout the district implementing your conservation policy and guidelines. So I thank you for that. I also would just like to thank Dr. Chavez and the executive team for their support. It's just ongoing and truly appreciated. For the community, I meet from time to time with people just happenstance, and they mention to me, hey, and I'll introduce myself always, but they'll say, there's a situation over here with the water. So I go to that and I find out what can we do, what can we do to take steps to correct that issue. It may be a sprinkler head that's busted, that's just squirting straight up. But it's every little thing like that that takes place truly where we're making a difference. To the food services personnel, for their excellent energy shutdowns in the kitchens and the cafeterias, to the maintenance staff for making those changes in the heating and cooling systems that keep everybody comfortable. Also to the custodians for setting back at their schools each night, and the teachers all throughout the district for their energy waste reducing that energy waste in their classrooms each day, to the principals and staff for coordinating their efforts in their schools. And I'd just be remiss if I didn't mention business services, Ms. Sherry Salaya, for her efforts and her wonderful staff and the support that they are for this program. What a tremendous thing that they do for us. Again, I thank you for this opportunity. In closing, in conclusion, I do have just a short 3-minute video that I'd like to share with you that simply it celebrates the great people all over this district and the efforts that they're making tonight. So again, thank you so much.
Thank you, Paul. That was an excellent presentation. Also want to thank you for providing us the good news with all those schools becoming an Energy Star school. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. We'll take any questions that you may have.
Board Member Hernandez?
I say, okay. Now this was, I have to give my fellow board members, Dr. Chavez, some background, but when this contract came about, I mean, it was, more than $1 million up front to be paid over the 4 years. That included training, staff, positions, and I said, wait a minute, you're gonna train me on what? To turn the switch off, so that's how much we're paying a company. So I was really, I wasn't for it. I mean, I knew the concept of, why can't you just send out a memo and let people, make them turn off the light? But this is part of my journey in that growth, right? So I'm so glad to hear that we had, because honestly, I think when I first heard about it again, 4 years later, I'm like, we're still paying into that for what? So I was waiting to hear the benefits. 5 years, similar to PLC. After 2 years, we're asking, we want some, after investing so much money, you want to see the fruits. And if it's not there, I have to question. So thank you for sharing the great news, and I really like the video. I ought to be doing something else, but thank you.
The music was outstanding. When you have a Sherry Salaya and a Paul Baker and a Zeke OJ, that's the kind of results that you get.
Well, and to see the people that it touches and who's helping us save this money was what got my attention. So, I mean, it's all of us. It is all of us, but the little things that we don't look into it, and thank you. But I did have one question, sorry. What is aside from the investment in the training and making sure you turn this off or shut that off or when we're leaving, what is the difference in the trend? Was it the building? Or why do we all of a sudden see this $1 million growth? What was it just a gradual thing, or what caused it to jump? Where we saw nothing, is it because we were paying out we were still paying into the contract, and now that we're not, now we see things? Can you explain that to me?
Yeah.
Dr. Chavez?
Yes, Mr. President, Dr. Chavez, members of the governing board. This is a process that we go through, and it's something that when we start up, when we ramp up something like this, a program, the initial stages of it are very difficult. We go through a learning process. There's a learning curve, if you will, and so it's really about bringing everybody on board and educating everybody to the benefits of this. And so it truly, I am so excited about this, because next year I'm going to the kids and we're going to help them, encourage them to be a part of this. But to get straight to your question, it's a process that we go through, and so I have been able to go through with the assistance and the excellent training of Synergistic and identify approximately 400 ways to save on our energy bills. 400. So it's more than just computers, lights, and fans. It's so much more than that, and it's again, it's something that because of that training, we've been able to capture. But I can assure you, this would not be occurring without the support of this wonderful executive team and your support, and then all employees rallying together and making a difference. I walk through every single classroom of this district, every single workspace, every closet, everything, and I see what's left on and I see what's turned off, and it's gigantic. The efforts, if you take one person and multiply that out by 2,400, it's gigantic, and that's exactly what's happening. So I hope that better answers your question.
I'm going to narrow it down to the 1 million.
Yes.
That you've narrowed it down to. Has that been a gradual over the years? I'm understanding it to be this year's savings.
Yes. Okay.
And what is it? I mean, this has been. I mean, I know it's grown. You have to educate and to get everybody on board to where everybody's shutting off lights and
Mrs. Hernandez, Governing Board Member Hernandez. Yes, so if you look at performance year number 3, we were just at under 1.1, just over 1 million. So the year prior. And so now, performance year 4, we are at where we're at now, just under 1.2 million. And what causes that is the continual education and people, the increase of people doing is behavioral change, was what drives it.
So, Dr. Chavez, fellow board members, Mr. Bigman, so the cost savings has been, the whole slightly over $1 million has been since the inception. So it's not, didn't happen in one period, 1 year. That's what's been the total cost savings?
Yes, so yes, Mr. President, yes, Governing Board Hernandez. So over the lifetime of the program, this is cumulative. So we're at approximately 3.78 million through March of this year, from the inception of the program until through March. Yes, that was just a snapshot of performance year number 4.
Okay.
Yes.
I get it. So.
Mr. Georgie?
Mr. President, board members, I'd like for Paul to just, talk a little bit about avoiding cost, because I can see, where you are going with those questions, the numbers, that he has been putting out are what we call avoided dollars. And we are not looking at January this year and January last year, which is what, businesses do. And we are looking at the costs that we have avoided had we not, implemented those, all those programs that he's talking about. So those costs are different from looking at, what you and I will consider, when we pay our bills. Nonetheless, they are still, very important costs, because had we not done, implemented those programs, we'll be spending more. So can you talk about avoided costs a little bit?
Sure. So the Mr. President and Board Member Hernandez. So we have something called the International Measurement and Verification Protocol, and what it is it's a world body of energy engineers and organizations. And what they do is they value, just like the Department of Energy, we value energy in dollars. But in order to do that, to compare what we were doing, which we didn't before we had a program, we compare it to the baseline. Had we had not done anything and had a program, this is what we would have spent in today's dollars. When you consider additional square footage, which is I think over 100,000 square feet we've added since the inception of our program. With that square footage change comes extra added energy use. With all the equipment and everything, there are billing cycle differences, there are weather pattern changes, those things. So what the software that we have, which is approved by the U.S. Department of Energy, it calculates that avoided cost, and it values the value of energy in today's dollars. Because they're different today than they were before we began. Just an example again, about 4.5% increase in costs from SRP. We have no control over that. The only thing we can control is our consumption of energy. And so again, it's not a big pool of money sitting in an account somewhere. It's cumulative over time. It just demonstrates what it is that we're working towards and the success that we're having. But again, every dollar that we save, we keep in the district. Every dollar that we don't send to SRP or to the City of Phoenix Water Department, we keep right here. So in raw dollars, over the last 12 months, that's $51,000 a month that we were not saving before we began.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Bateman. I appreciate your candor and your presentation. Without that particular program, what you're looking at for that one particular year is $1.1 million of added cost that we would have had in the district. So due to his expertise and all of the people in the school district, we were able to save 1.1 of what it cost. So that's really a tremendous savings, and we do appreciate that. Thank you.
I think I remember the conversation. I just now I didn't like that avoided cost. Just give me the dollars that we're saving it, and we're taking it away from what we originally paid out in that contract. That just didn't make sense to me. But $51,000 a month makes a difference for me. But thank you.
Board Member Cantu?
Yes, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Bateman. I want to commend the schools for having that recognition, and that means you're doing an excellent job out there. But more than anything, it's a teamwork. I, just like Mrs. Hernandez, from the beginning, it was hurtful for me to pay for a program that I was not getting anything in return right away. So for that, I was very hesitant to move in that direction. Obviously, the energy cost and savings and all that, it's just coming to be more popular, for us to listen to it more constantly, like the panels on the roof and stuff. And that's okay. I think that if we're prepared for it, it's beautiful, right? Even though I was very hesitant, I said, no, we're not going to throw money in that direction if we're not getting anything in return. But it's part of being a board member. Because we not only have to look at energy saving, we have to look at classroom savings and all the areas of the district. So that's what makes us hesitant in some of the expenses that comes to our district, because we need to focus on our students first. And that's very important to me. Dr. Chavez, thank you for your persistence on the energy saving. I think that we finally looking at results. And Mr. Orte, thank you for your, I know you really look into every single dollar out there that we can save, and I do want to recognize Mr. OJ for being so diligent in looking for the benefit of the district and the spending being appropriately. And without this team, Dr. Chavez, I don't know where will you be. Thank you, Mr. Bateman.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bateman deserves all the credit in the world for his enthusiastic energy and his commitment to the Cartwright School District. Please give Mr. Bateman a big round of applause. With that, that concludes my update.
Hold on, Mr. Bateman. Mr. Gomez, do you have any questions? I've been on the phone a couple of times, so I know how frustrating it is for people to forget about you. But if you're still with us, do you have any questions?
Yes, I just want to congratulate Paul Bateman on his presentation, very eye-friendly presentation, and I'm ecstatic to see the savings that the district saving. I'm sure Mr. Lopez is even more ecstatic than I am, seeing as how you work for energy conservation. But good work to everyone at Cartwright for being energy conservationists, and I look forward to the savings. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Gomez, and yes, there's so many questions that I have. I think we should be meeting regularly. It's we speak the same language. Just some quick background information. I do work for a conservation organization, League of Conservation Voters, and I'm the state director, and we fought SRP on that 4.5 hike increase. That is not only a hike increase, but it also has new price point fees, and then they also reduce their energy efficiency budget. They're taxing rooftop solar as well, reduce their renewable energy, and I just want to thank the board for making that decision this last 4 years ago. I'm just excited, to see this presentation, and my question to you is, well, given that, you know, the EPA is going to be rolling out their clean power plan this July, and then utility companies have to reduce their carbon emissions by more than half. Arizona has to reduce 53%. So that means for utilities like APS and SRP, they have to implement more renewable energy. They have to increase their sources of renewables, such as solar or wind. For us in Arizona, we have the most sunniest days in the country. So I think solar should be the way for utilities to think about. Unfortunately, that's not the case with SRP and APS passing these solar taxes and just penalizing rooftop solar customers. My question to you is, I know that residentials have energy efficiency programs or the price plans, the EC3 or the 1 to 8, where you get incentives for reducing energy. Do we have any price plans like those similar for industrial customers? I know that we're probably an industrial customer, and so I'm curious to see if there's any opportunities for us to play a role. I know they mentioned during the hike increase during the hearings that we attended that whenever there's a need, they call their partners, our industrial partners, and they ask them to shut down for 15 to 30 minutes, and they'll give you an incentive. And so I'm curious to see if there's any programs, since you're the person in charge of that department.
Yes, Mr. President, governing board members, we are on E32 plan, so it is time of day use that we currently operate on. So again, that shifts for the winter time to summer and so forth, and then we have those shoulder months. As far as an incentive to power things down, I have actually never heard of anything like that. I've never been approached by SRP to implement anything like that. I could certainly investigate that further and find out a little bit more about that if you would like.
Okay, thank you. And then another quick question. I know that APS has a program, a community solar program, where they have implemented rooftop solar at many of the schools, the school districts, and those programs are in the parking lots, turning the parking lots into solar production units. I know that I talked to Dr. Chavez, and 5 years ago we looked at the opportunity of going solar, but over the long term, it was not going to be cost efficient for us. Right now, technology has increased so much for solar panels that we even have the battery storage now available for home for $3,500, and for industrial businesses and small businesses as well. And to me, that's, I mean, for the issue of climate change, which is the biggest issue that we're facing right now, not only for our time, for future generations. The biggest issue with that is that for solar panels, we didn't have battery storage up until now, which Tesla has developed these batteries, and they're going to be available for the public next year. My question to that is, would it be possible to look at the opportunity again of going solar or setting some renewable standards for our buildings so that we can start thinking of renewable energy, so that we can connect less from the grid? The issue before the battery was that when the sun goes down, as you know, the energy from the panel, according to SRP or APS, has to go back to the grid. That's where we have maintenance fees. Now with the batteries, we'll have an opportunity to store the energy in your buildings, and then you can continue to use the energy. Once the energy goes out, we connect to the grid, which is in our case SRP. I think it's worth looking into, seeing the opportunity. If we can implement a program like that, or see what's going to be the cost. I know there's a lot of subsidies, federal subsidies. There's also tax breaks from the state as well. And I'm just interested in seeing, and I'm interested in meeting with you soon to have conversations on how can we move forward with many of the possibilities that we have.
President Lopez, I look forward to those conversations. You let me know if, I'm not sure how all of that works, but please let me know. I'm at your disposal.
Yeah, and if we can get a list of the schools that got the certification from the EPA, this June, I'm heading to DC and we're having a meeting with Gina McCarthy, the administrator for the EPA. So I think it'll be a great opportunity to see, one, to present what we have, what we received from them, but also find different ways to work together and collaborate so that we can continue to expand our buildings, but again, think about renewable energy since, the EPA Clean Power Plan, again, is gonna be a crackdown for utility companies to start thinking renewable energy. So again, thank you for your presentation. I'm extremely excited, and I'll follow up with you and Dr. Chavez so that we can continue this conversation further, because I can speak all night on this issue, but I'm not gonna do that. Thank you, Hernandez.
Thank you. I have to explain that not to anything negative on Mr. Bateman, but have to understand the climate under which we were in early on when I was questioning this issue. I think a lot has changed, even now this is something that was, and I'm gonna tell you, we got into the habit of where the superintendent would give us add something to the agenda on a Tuesday before the Wednesday meeting, as long as he met the requirements for the posting, and it came overnight. And so all of a sudden we have $1 million plus, for what? And it was in dire straits, and the decision needed to be made at that meeting. So I have to admit that that's not a process. That's a process that I would question, because one, what is it? Why is there such a rush, and why did it just come up with it, Tuesday before the Wednesday meeting? So there's got to be something with it. And obviously, being a school board member opens us up. We're always lobbied by private interest. We go to events or conferences, and you always have a contractor wanting to do business, because we are one of the largest employers in the area, as many school districts are. We have a budget that doesn't seem so big, but all of a sudden it may not be once you break down everything. And the way the public interest could influence me as a board member. I tend to question and shy away any time that big entities want to work with us, and I have to question. So anyway, but thank you so much, and I'm glad to see the fruits of that.
Yeah, just for clarification, Mr. President, governing board members, that was another superintendent.
sorry.
That,
So we've come a long way.
And lastly, SRP, they do some good things, and one of the things that they do is they have a program where they offer free trees to families that live within SRP. Again, these are trees that will shade your house, and so that'll reduce the need for your air conditioning. So there we talk about energy efficiency, and that's the key that our families in, and that's the key that we're doing is energy efficiency. My thing is, my organization, we try to get our community to sign up to that program. You just have to take a class that is 30 minutes, and they'll give you a free tree. No hidden costs, no anything. You just have to be a homeowner. Just have a home, or a duplex home, or a single family home. Not an apartment, but a home. And I'm just wondering if we can somehow pass the message to our parents. Because SRP is not advertising, they have the program because they're obligated to have programs like this, but they're not exposing the program enough to the community. I went to a class and only 35 families were there, and they have capacity to serve up to 5,000 trees per year. And so seeing that 35 to 50 is the average on those sessions, I think it would be a great opportunity for us as a Cartwright to just somehow pass that program to our families, maybe through the newsletter or through your department, or somehow if we can think of a way that we can pass that program to our families so they can benefit from that, and we'll benefit from that to reduce climate change, and our future students benefit from that, and just everyone. Thank you.
that concludes my update. Thank you.
Mr. Ode?
Dr. Chavez, Mr. President, board members, I would just like to, let the board know that since we came on board, we have instituted, changes, in our facilities department, where we have, when light bulbs go out, we replace them with energy efficient, bulbs. So we're conscious of that. This building, the entire building has the, we've installed, efficient lighting. All the schools that we remodeled, we've installed, efficient lightings in them. In addition, we use the percentage of our bond money to retrofit, about 3 schools, with efficient lighting. And the result of this is that every year we'll be receiving rebates, from SRP for those, units. This year alone, we got about 200,000 from them, in extra money. So we have been conscious of those efforts.
Board Member Hernandez?
All right, you talk about those, it's all about adding more, but I kept thinking about the trees. It's a great idea, then I need more water. Is it disadvantage? How can
Those trees are, the need of water is very minimum, and so that is why they offer those trees. They're designed for hot areas like Arizona, and the water that you need is, over the years, you're not wasting as much water, so they're water efficient trees. There's a term for that, I don't know, it's not on the top of my head, but today, these are designed, again, to reduce the need of water. Since we have a water crisis in California, we're next door, and I think we may see something like that in our community. There's also, they also offered water efficient shower heads, and they also, right now, they're offering free home audits for homeowners that usually cost $100, and once they do the audit, if you make some of the changes, for example, insulation or other things, they pay up to 80% of the cost as well. So it's, again, many things that they have, but they don't advertise those things enough because it's not in their best interest. But it's good to know and pass it on to our community.
Just another comment, Mr. President, Dr. Chavez, and fellow board members. I'm glad to hear what we do in terms of replacing those light bulbs, because at some point with the previous administration, when windows were shattered or we wouldn't replace them, we board them up. So we've come a long way. Thank you.
And this building is an example of the energy efficiency that we have, like the windows that we have. Mr. Bateman, windows also, as you know, play a huge role in air conditioning as well. So, again, I think we'll continue at some other time. Thank you.
Yes, Mr. President, governing board members, that concludes my update.
Okay.
Mr. President.
Go ahead, board member Cantu.
Well, I just wanna echo on your, and my mind always goes far beyond where we discussing sometimes. If they're giving out some trees, our district is in need of trees, and especially they're water efficient trees. So because our kids play in the playground, and if we can, you can forward that information to the board members, to the advisory council, so they can share that information with the community, so they can, we can encourage our community to take advantage of that. And if they don't have a place to put the tree, they have the option to plant it a car.
Yes, they also have a community tree planting program, and the Valley Vernacular Alliance also are the ones providing those trees. What I'll do is I'll pass that information to Dr. Chavez so he can pass it on to the rest of the board and to the Citizens Advisory Council. The next class, it's going to be on June 6th, which is a Saturday, and it's going to be in Mesa. But walk-ins are welcome, and again, they have capacity for thousands, and only unfortunately a couple dozen people are going to be showing up. So I know it's not close to us, but they just had one a month ago at the community center, Desert West and 67th and Thomas, and that is the one that I attended. But right now, my organization, we're working towards bringing more of those workshops to our community, because again, these programs are not happening in our community, they're happening in other communities, not our communities where we need it the most, where our communities are hit the most with climate change. But yes, I'll be more than happy to pass that information tomorrow morning so that we can all take advantage of that.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Be glad to share that at our immigration forums.
Okay, so now we are moving to item D2, board updates, and we'll start with Board Member Hernandez. Or Board Member Gomez, how about that? Board Member Gomez, are you there?
I am here. Thank you, Mr. President, fellow board members, Dr. Chavez, I just wanted to briefly, unfortunately, due to family issues, illness, I'm not there today, but I am able to join you via the telephone. Thank you, everyone, for your great presentation today. Very informative. But I do want to really commend Dr. Chavez on a great presentation for our board project we had this last week on emotional intelligence, and I really look forward to or congratulate the teachers and our staff there at Cartwright for being the building blocks of our children's future. So with that, I would just again commend Dr. Chavez on a great job, and I took a lot away from that presentation you gave us. So very job well done. And with that, I will pass.
Thank you. We'll switch things around. I'll go next, and we can pass it over that way. Try something new. Unfortunately, I was not able to attend any of the promotions. I just had a little girl that was born earlier this month, so I'm keeping myself busy at home. And unfortunately, I was not able to attend, but I'm looking forward to future promotions. It's an amazing thing to see our students move on and go to high school or move on to other grade levels as well within our district. We did have a great conversation and discussion at our retreat on emotional intelligence, and I think we made some progress for engagement, and I think we've seen that today as well as all of us have engaged for on good discussions during the whole board meeting. So again, I think it's good progress towards our journey as a board, and again we're looking for a replacement for Vice President Garcia, who resigned. So I think as a board we're looking forward to obtain that new board member and continue our PLC journey and continue our process for this next few years. And with that, I'll conclude my update, and I'll pass it over to Board Member Cantu.
Yes, Mr. President, Dr. Chavez, members of the board. I don't have much to report this time. I just want to echo on the retreat. Dr. Chavez, thank you. And for your information, the light was going off while we were having a retreat. It means it was it is in a saving time, right? Doesn't respect our late meetings, but thank you, Dr. Chavez. It was very interesting information that you have presented the board with. We still working on becoming and being a better board, and that's our job too. But always, no matter how we try to do business, it's always have to be students in mind, which is our purpose to be here. And we have to continue improving ourselves and educating ourselves to be more effective. And I want to thank Dr. Chavez for that. I want to thank the Citizen Advisor Council for being here tonight again, and thank you for your work that you do out there. I also want to mention that I was appointed for the HSF Foundation, and it's for their advisory committee, and it's a foundation that is building. It's Hispanic scholarships across the nation, and they're building in every state. They're developing, and they're very, very generous to our students. It's something that I look forward to bring to our district, because our students need to have that incentive and to look out for. They have very, very famous people on their board, One of them is Maria Elena Salinas. She's from Univision. They have amazingly inspiring people on the board, and I look forward to invite some of those individuals to our perhaps to our graduations for our students to listen to, and to look up for the possibilities that are out there for them. I mean, I want to present these kids with everything that is out there for them to be inspired and to move forward and to really take in consideration the importance of their education and college education. If we have so much talent here, like Dr. Jasmer said, how they're precisely identifying the needs of our students, because it's important to prepare them for college and career readiness. So if we're going to prepare them for college, we want them to be successful as well. Thank you very much, and that will be the end of my report. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Board Member Cantu. Board Member Hernandez.
Thank you, Dr. Chavez, and Mr. President, fellow board members. I've been very active, especially around education. I want to thank my board members for attending the retreat, and I'm going to share that what I've been asking is for just commitment to being present at trainings and issues that we are addressing as we go along the way, especially in and around board governance. I think the emotional intelligence conversation, I walked away with a lot on my own, and down to the filtering of the conversation with what to respond to and not. But we all come to this job as a volunteer at different levels, different perspectives, different experiences. And in order to jump on board a vehicle that's moving, sometimes we're able to jump on board immediately, sometimes we're not. But a lot of it we have to rely on the professional development, on learning. I invite you anywhere you hear about a cafecito or presenter or any information. That's what gets me, I become more informed, getting to the positions that I've been running for in representing, trying to better and improve conditions with our families in our community. Sometimes I know it's tough, and making it to one more meeting, I've got to, I'm coming from work, and the priorities kind of differ, right? And so sometimes it doesn't make sense for me to go, but I invite you to continue going. But my message, and I'll continue, and I thank you for being there and engaging in that conversation. But I also ask for leadership as well, to being able to address issues through dialogue. Sometimes we tend not to do that. Anyway, there's something that I've got to learn and I walked away with, so thank you for that. Had the opportunity to attend the Governor Ducey's Leadership Summit that I shared at our retreat. And by the way, the retreat is open to the public, so anybody's able to, it's an open meeting, just a board retreat that we're learning. Something's being shared with us. But what I walked away with that summit as well was, I think, a very good faith effort on behalf of Governor Ducey, in that he's made some decisions, especially around education. And he's got to bring people with us. Remember, we're all at different levels. I'm going to tie it back to our board retreat training. The emotional intelligence piece, the professional development. So if I'm not understanding why there's, sometimes in leadership you make certain decisions, but you need, sometimes I have to explain what those are. It might take me 5 meetings before we get it. The same as with us. It might take me, a lot longer, such as a great example of the presentation early on about the energy cost savings. But I think he brought some very, I'm going to say, impressive experts that he's in relationship with and conversation with, to help us gain a deeper understanding and reasoning and rationale behind recent decisions. I think it was just a great effort, and I learned a lot, and I walked away. I was excited leaving that. Walked away with a deeper understanding. I was able to attend the Spitali 4th grade project presentations. There was countries that kids were selected, and they were each able to make presentations on that. And I'll finish with just a blurb, and I talked about it at the retreat as well. The equity in conversations. We're all talking about college and career readiness. There's school districts and local boards here that impact our families. My daughter's at Maryville High School, And for those of you that I've been sharing over the last few meetings, that a group of parents got together to advocate, went before, like the first time you're coming before the board, and took we were 80 families that wanted to request from the board and some help because our kids were getting ready to graduate, and only about 80 of those students that graduate out of a 500 graduating class, of which only half graduate in Maryville. After an assessment went done, we tracked that only 26 of those kids. I don't know if anybody had an opportunity to go to the graduations this year. You know, it's impressive because you need a coliseum because there's over 4,000 families, and it's just very impactful. My daughter was one of those. But it's very unfortunate, and it frustrates me and it angers me that out of that graduating class, only half of those are graduating. And out of those half, only 26 individuals are obtaining a higher education or pursuing one. And that's over a span of 6 years. That's unacceptable. So when we got together and went before a board to ask for this help, to allow for a bill schedule, and the board members chose not to, chose to make it a political battle between the union and the parents, which does not exist. So understanding that, and then as a response to that, there's many great things happening with an effort called Thriving Together. But also, for the first time, I'm seeing the business industry come in with an answer, a solution to addressing this. But if we're not growing our board leadership to make decisions and be knowledgeable on what's needed, then we're failing our students, such as that board failed during that time for making that decision. I understand we're at different levels and it's going to take some of us, but while we learn, so I want you as members and administrators to understand as we learn, we need all the help we can get. We might not always get it, but unfortunately, by us not getting it, kids are being impacted. So we've got to pay attention at elections, at those candidates, and who those are, because I'm going to tell you, on that board, there were members that were supported by our Latino members, taking out another Latino, but we're talking about primarily Latino community. So we've got to pay attention to that. But in these talks about equity, our leadership, Arizona School Board Association's response to this issue that we're trying to get a good handle on, the answer was having an equity conference, but approaching it from a racial equity. I don't care what color you are. My expectations is that you give me the same tools that you're going to give him and him, so that I don't want any favors. Just give me the tools that I need so that I can succeed. So thank you, Dr. Chavez, because that equity conversation and emotional intelligence is just fitting right into the piece of puzzle where I'm at and in my journey and in my growth. Thank you for all that, and I'll continue the conversation another time.
Thank you. Now we move to call to the public. Do we have any requests at this point? And if you wish to address the board, this is your last chance. No? Okay. We now move to item F, consent agenda. Dr. Chavez.
Yes, Mr. President, governing board members, the administration recommends the governing board approve the consent agenda as presented.
Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second, a motion was made by Board Member Hernandez and second by President Lopez. Any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor to approve the consent agenda as is, signify by saying aye.
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 I vote aye as well. Motion carries. We now move to item G, other information discussion items, requests for future agenda items as information / discussion at a future meeting. Do we have any requests at this point? Board Member Cantu?
Yeah, Dr. Chavez, can you mention the items, the future agenda items that we have pending for future? You mentioned some of them last time at the retreat.
Yes, just 1 second. We do have a governing board meeting that will be held on June 10th. In this next, for this evening, we are going to cover the website.
Okay.
Right after this particular item on number 2, We'll cover the website. And then in the next governing board meeting on June 10th, we will also have an executive session for my pay for performance. That'll be in there. And then we will also, in June 1st, we'll also have a governing board retreat after the regular governing board meeting for the governing board to evaluate themselves, the self-evaluation. So it'll be after the July 1st regular governing board meeting. For the next governing board meeting, Elsa, do you have that June 10th agenda?
Right here.
We're having an ACLU presentation.
Yes, we have actually several things. We do have a report on the bullying process. We also have a safety grant overview. And then we are going to have the proposed 15-16 budget. And then we'll also have on information, the ACLU will have a presentation at the end of the governing board meeting on the information piece. And that will conclude all of the requests made by the governing board. And then July 1 is our first regular governing board meeting for the upcoming year.
Dr. Chávez, you're not going on vacation?
Yes, ma'am. I plan to go on vacation sometime the end of June, and also probably during the 4th of July weekend. I'd like to ride in the Springerville Parade, as we normally do. The Chavez folks like to ride horses in that parade, so I do look forward to that.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Chávez. I just wanted a clarification on the things that we have pending for.
Yeah, so we do have many of those things, and that will, by July 1, we'd have completed all of them, all of the requests that have been made. So it is still going to be busy. The June 10th is a busy meeting, and so is July 1st. And we would appreciate all of your attendance as normal.
Dr. Chávez, you know I'm supposed to be in Maui today.
Yes, I do.
But I decided to come to my board meeting, so.
Now that's what you call commitment.
No, not really, but thank you very much. Have a very nice summer, everybody.
Okay, any other requests? Mr. Gomez?
None here.
Thank you. We now move to item G2, discussion, information, and update regarding the Cartwright School District number 83 website. Mrs. Sanchez.
Yes, Mr. President, governing board members, I introduce you to Ms. Veronica Sanchez, who will be presenting an update regarding the Cartwright School District website. Veronica?
Thank you, Dr. Chavez. Good evening again. Board members, Mr. President, Dr. Chavez, and the executive team. I have been tasked with giving you a brief update on the revamping of our new website. But first, I want to give you a bit of background. The Office of Civil Rights, or the OCR, is a government entity, and it has a number of functions. It ensures equal access to education, it enforces laws that prohibit discrimination, and it also protects citizens with disabilities, as well as it monitors websites to make sure that there is compliance to those standards. We were approached by OCR early on in the year to be compliant according to their standards by June 30th, 2015, which is a month from now. And since then, our department, the Communications and Community Engagement Department, has been meeting for 3 months on a weekly basis with our website consultant to make changes to the Cartwright website and to launch our brand new website. In that time, we have provided information to our consultant, we have provided pictures and links to make our website more friendly and OCR compliant, which is the goal here. So I wanted to show you a screen grab of our current website as it looks like now. So if you look at it, it seems fairly aesthetically pleasing. I personally like the maroon color. However, it's a bit bold for those with disabilities, the visually impaired in particular. And some of the font is a bit bright for them, so that needed to be corrected. I wanted to show you another screenshot of our new website, which is pending. And this is the first thing that users will see when they log on to our brand new website. And it is basically a slideshow of 4 or 5 slides of pictures of our incredible students in the classroom and outside of the classroom as they learn, and all of the great programs that Cartwright has to offer. So that's what they will be seeing when they look at when they log on to our brand new website. And as you can see, it's a little bit lighter than the previous website, and it'll be a lot more easier to navigate. Directly below that slideshow, you can actually see on my left-hand side Dr. Chavez's video message, which is coming. I believe we're recording it soon, I believe in the next week or two. But that is going to be a brand new component, and I'll explain why that's important later on. To the right of him, you see Cartwright News, and it's all of the news stories that we have done from all of our many events that we've done in the past year and future ones as well. On the other side of that, and this is really important when it comes to being user-friendly, you will see student registration. So our parents and our students can register online. They don't have to come into our buildings if they don't have time. They can do it online, and we can actually send them the information through mail afterwards. So that is going to be incredibly convenient and effective when it comes to reaching our community. Jobs at Cartwright. This is also important for our future administrators, teachers, and employees. They will be able to download a lot of the employment forms, and they will also be able to subscribe to our newsletter. You don't see this, but we're going to also see bios of our executive team, our various departments, and people will be able to contact those individuals, whereas before they would not be able to do so. So let me go over some of the revisions that we have completed so far. We have resized the font on our brand new website to make it easier for the visually impaired and to make it OCR compliant. The color contrast for the text was previously too bright for the visually impaired, and again, we have fixed that. We've also provided quick links, as I explained earlier, and easy access to previous pages. We have provided a video player and multimedia video and audio functions. And as we are having a board meeting today, that video will be recorded, and the public, our community, can actually log on and view the entire board meeting. So that's going to be incredible. That is what the community wants to see. Also, the superintendent's message will be going forward in video formats, and this is just a good marketing tool. It makes good business sense. The human voice is far more powerful than any text can be. It's relatable, it can be persuasive, and people just gravitate towards video a lot more. And that is going forward going to be what we're going to be doing. Also, and this is the most important part, we have provided capability for users to contact our school district. Previously, we did not have that capability. In order to reach our community, this is very important. You need to be able to contact the folks at the school district that you need to get a hold of, parents in particular. They will be able to contact those individuals very quickly with a click of a mouse. We've also provided support so our website can be viewed on mobile phone browsers and tablet browsers. And this is just a great modern tool that all websites should have, and we're moving forward with that. We provided forms in English and in Spanish for parents and employees to use, as well as online registration is available, which I discussed previously. Again, job postings and the Cartwright Connection subscription will also be on this website. So if anyone wants to hear about what is going on with our school district, they can request to subscribe to that newsletter, and they will get it in the mail in a day or two. So, in conclusion, we had been anticipating, well, first of all, our deadline was by the end of June 30th, 2015, but I am happy to tell you that our website will be going live by the end of the day, May 28th, tomorrow. So it's fairly timely that I'm actually here with you guys. It worked out beautifully because we are in the process of taking down the old website and bringing up the brand new website. And again, the goal is to make it more user-friendly, more functional for our parents and our students and our future employees and our current employees as well. And I just think when it comes to marketing, it's a no-brainer. We need to move forward when it comes to vamping our websites. Obviously, we also want to be OCR compliant for those folks with disabilities, so I think this accomplishes that. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Veronica. Are there any questions that the board may have?
Board Member Cantu?
Yes, Mr. President, Dr. Chavez, thank you, Veronica, for your presentation. I'm sorry I had to.
That's okay.
No, I saw it on
Oh, good.
I saw it on my computer, so, thank you very much. And I was the one asking for the website presentation because I think that our council, and thank you, Dr. Chavez, for timing this so good with them being here so they have access to the website. And I know we don't have a big audience here. I wish we have parents and more people, but this is something that we've been trying to develop the best we can. And as we move forward with the technology, we need to have this available for our community and our staff. So thank you, Veronica, for your presentation.
Dr. Chavez?
Yes, thank you so much, Veronica, and we do appreciate all of you that are here. So we know we have folks that are out there doing stuff, but you guys are here, so we do appreciate that you're here, and we are keeping you awake. I can see that you're getting a little tired, but we're almost done, so thank you. Mr. President?
Board Member Hernandez?
I just love the fact that we're moving to the video format of the, because honestly, the voice was not really audible. So I'm glad for that and just moving forward. Thank you.
Board Member Gomez?
Yeah, I'm just happy to see that we're going to have a new website. I can tell you, not being there today, it was pretty difficult for me to unfortunately, I just had the video, the audio portion of our meeting, and unfortunately, something was down on the website, so I wasn't able to see the video of it. But I'm glad to see that starting tomorrow, that video option is available more easier for our guests to the website. Veronica, can you explain to me, I know that the City of Phoenix and the Maricopa County, there's an option right on the homepage that says view the meeting alive. Is that option going to be available with this new website?
I believe it will be, but no, I'm not 100% certain on that, but I can certainly get back to you on that.
Okay, thank you very much. No, I think this is great job on the website, and I look forward to doing it tomorrow.
Mr. President, Mr. Gomez, we are very hopeful that link will be on the website so that we video stream from our particular website. So that's one of the things that we do need on that website is the ability to video stream from that website.
And also, if we can ensure that we have a mobile thing, Phoenix Union, as soon as you log in, you go mobile, but if you go to our current Cartwright, it gives you the desktop version, so you can't really click and go to the subtitles properly.
I can tell you, Board President Lopez, that we are talking about an app, and that is definitely something we're discussing and something we want to launch hopefully sometime this year, but it's going to take a bit of a time to get there. So this is our first priority, to make sure that the website is easy to navigate for the people of Cartwright first, and I guarantee you that an app will come at some point.
Perfect, thank you. Now that everything is mobile, and mostly everyone has their smartphones, they check, Phoenix Union, their students' grades, that's probably Mr. Hernandez has access to that technology over different days.
Actually, I'm just present, Mr. President.
and our
So I think it's a feature that we need for our community, since many of them don't have the luxury to sell a computer, or may not have a computer at home. So the phone, the mobile thing will be a best option for them.
Our community is very mobile, so that's definitely something we're taking into account.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate your presentation. That concludes our update for the website.
Okay, thank you. We now move to item H, announcements of future meeting dates and other routine information concerning the governing board. The next regular governing board meeting will be held on Wednesday, June 10th, 2015 at 6:30 p.m. at the Carter School District Boardroom. Now we move to item H1, adjournment. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion was made by Board Member Hernandez, second by Board Member Cantu. All those in favor to adjourn signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye, aye as well. Meeting adjourned.